So, of course, no one can anticipate or even try to bet on and figure out where in the world the Falcons are going to go at 8. But if you wanted to go and hear from an expert where he thinks they'll go, you got to hear from D. Orlando Ledbetter. He of the AJC, the Falcons beat reporter, former PFWA president, or as I like to call him, my big bro, as Jarvis likes to call him, big bro, and OG. What's happening, D?
Hey, Tenitra and Jarvis, thanks for having me on the podcast. It's a pleasure joining you all here from Indianapolis at my, I don't know how many combines it's been.
I wondered about that. Exactly. We're just going to go
Yes.
with a lot. And speaking of being there on the ground, that was one of the reasons we really wanted to reach out to you. We've been talking about you coming on for a while, so we appreciate you coming, especially now because we know that it has been pretty much a 24-hour nonstop for you up there, not just to cover the combine itself or to cover for the Falcons, but also with all of the news that came out about Jalen Carter, of course, with him getting the arrest warrant issued from the Athens Clark Police Department for reckless driving and racing from that night of that crash back on January 15th, right? That unfortunately took the lives of Devin Willick and Chandler LaCroix. So we know Carter has since turned himself in. He was released from jail, bonded out, and he's actually back in Indy. But it really made us kind of think, what is it like? What has it been like, D, on the ground there in Indianapolis as it relates to Jalen and all of these details now coming out surrounding that night?
Yeah, we were, I knew our team was working on the story from, as far as 10 days ago, that he was more involved in this thing than had previously been reported. And Alan Judd, our lead investigative reporter for years, he's working with Dylan Jackson. I worked with Alan during the Michael Vick dogfighting trial. So, I really respect the work that he does. We were able to get videos and the information through public records requests that showed, he had changed the story a couple times, left the scene, and, may be in criminal jeopardy. So, a couple misdemeanor charges, we're going to be brought, or definitely could have been brought, and what was a tragic situation. But, there's some other things that came out of it. There seems to be a culture of drag racing at Georgia and a culture of the police letting them slide. So the one that, is officer who, if I was the police chief, would be immediately demoted. The one that let him slide while on the 89, he's doing 89 in the 45 zone. And he said, we can't arrest you because it's going to be too big. That's that. He should be treated just like everybody else that gets a speeding ticket. So, that was one thing that came up. And up here football-wise, as soon as that story broke yesterday, all the writers were coming up to us from the AJC, myself and Gabriel Burns, and, saying, tell your people good job reporting, blah, so forth and so on. And I was like, well, we got to do our part here. And hopefully he's coming. At that point, we kind of thought he still might come. But, we found out, about 10, 20 minutes after his scheduled interview that he would not be speaking to the media. We had to move on to the next part of that story. It's like, hey, here's a guy considered perhaps the top prospect in the draft. How is this going to affect his draft status? That was the football story. And, we know two misdemeanors is not going to scare away too many NFL teams.
Not really.
but the culture of racing will, in that, you don't want to draft a guy that's going to get into a crash a la Henry Ruggs and not be available. And there's two people dead in that case. So, the drag racing thing is a red flag at this point. Do you want to put that person in your city? Some people are going to take him off the board. Some people are not. And he's probably not going to drop very far. Right. But that's kind of how the story and how that whole day unfolded for us here in Indianapolis.
And that was going to be my follow-up question to you, D, just getting your opinion, and not just as a beat reporter for the NFL, but also looking at it from your perspective of being an attorney. And how do you see this potentially playing out? Because it's an interesting timeline, because it's March 2nd. and we got about a month and a half before draft, and we know could potentially not be resolved before that. So kind of the feel or the sense is, like you said, it's misdemeanors at this point, but is there a possibility in any laws that you are aware of from the state of Georgia that it could move into another direction that might further impact? Even when I say that, meaning any felony charges that might actually impact his draft status before April 26, 27?
Yeah, legally, we are very familiar with DAs overcharging folks.
Yeah.
In an accident in drag racing where 2 people dead, we might have a case of an undercharge here. That's to the benefit of the school and the program and the player. Did he swerve into them? Did he cause, was there you can go with the 2 charges that they presented, and at the top end of the spectrum would have been vehicular homicide.
Yes.
Or reckless homicide, driving. So the scale's pretty far, and we've seen in the last few years and stuff, as more people become more familiar with the systematic problems in the legal systems of overcharging and trying to put people in jail for minor offenses and so forth. So on the opposite end of that, you got people being undercharged. This might be a case here of that. So I don't know the exact range on these 2 misdemeanors. I had to get back to football, but I think in Athens County they're trying to, that's the big dog up there is the football program, and the police department is going to they've worked with them in the past. And so I'm thinking they're going to work with them here and try to do what's right and fair by the 2 students who passed away, who are not with clean hands, driving 104 and alcohol, consumption of 2 times the limit. But yeah, so as all these facts start coming out, they'll sort through it. People got to slow down. Law enforcement's got to do their job. People got to do a better job to society, and then try to move forward in the future.
No doubt about it. I think one of those things that hopefully all the sides can come to an agreement as to what makes sense, right? D, like you mentioned, because like there are people that are no longer with us to defend themselves, and that's the thing that I feel like you shouldn't be putting those people into that particular conversation again. And I just specifically for the families that are involved with those people that lost their lives. Now, D, now another little big topic of conversation has been whether or not who's going to be the starting quarterback for 2023 for the Atlanta Falcons. And Terry Fontenot has been all but wanting to bring people into his head as far as who that guy's going to be. And a lot of people have been asking questions trying to get him to say, hey, this is our guy. This is our QB1. And he's refused to do so. But my question to you is, what do you think training camps look? I want to fast forward to training camp. What do you think training camps looks like as far as who's going to be in that quarterback room along with Desmond Ridder as the Falcons get amped up for the season? Do you think that draft, free agency, or do you think it's a combination of both?
Well, it's a combination of both. You're gonna have it's gonna be another veteran. Whether it's on the high end or the low end of the veteran spectrum. That's going to play itself out here in the next few days as Baltimore's got to put a franchise back.
Got to figure it
out. That's the dream scenario,
right?
I've been talking to my Green Bay people. They don't think they don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. He's too weird, so they don't know. I can't see him. I don't envision that as an option. Jimmy G is, you got to watch that because. You got to remember Arthur Smith was at Tennessee when they decided to salvage Ryan Tannehill.
Yes.
Until they didn't, when he threw the 3 interceptions in the playoff game as number 1 seed. So Jimmy G will be somebody they think they could play with. But my thing is, hey, who's out there that is you're like, okay, you're a championship contender now. There's only one person, and he wears number 8, and then Kyle Pitts has got to change his number. So,
damn, Kyle.
That's it. And the draft, I don't know if I don't like, the Bryce Young. Do you trade up for that? C.J. Stroud, Levis, Anthony Richardson. I kind of got him circled on the list. I want to look at that a little bit more. But then Hendon Henderson, they're gonna have a chance to get somebody in here that they think they can coach and make better. Ridder was 74th overall in the third round. Competition is good, and maybe bring somebody in here that could push him. And if you got two quarterbacks, and Logan Woodside as the backup, go ahead and go with it. But the goal should be to get a quarterback that could take you to the championship.
Yeah.
Okay. Not just to get back in the playoffs, but can this person bring a title to Atlanta with the right weapons and building out the defense and all that kind of stuff? So we'll see where they go. They're going to weigh all their options, and if they can't get anything, they'll move forward with Desmond Ridder.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of building defense, which is what I'm all for, D. My whole thing is going back to when they hired Ryan Nielsen, right? And they were being very, very cryptic about whether or not they run a 4-3 or a 3-4 defense. But I'm not saying I know everything about football, but what I do know is if you are running a 4-3, that defensive end looks very different than that outside linebacker that's lined up on the outside of that tight end or on the strong side of that tight end. So my question to you is, how do you feel they end up – what do you think they end up moving closer towards when they talk about – I know they say they want to run a multiple, but what do you think they move closer towards as far as from a scheme standpoint, whether or not they have the even or odd front? What do you think they lean with Ryan Nielsen as defensive coordinator?
Yeah, they're going to run a 3-4. That's what they've been drafted for. And all they're saying is, hey, we got to play a lot of nickel.
Basically,
right. Yeah. Translation.
Basically.
Man, just say y'all going to play nickel when y'all not in the 3-4. He did run a 4-3 down there. And with Cam Jordan and Davenport and the bigger ends, but the Falcons just spent all these resources on these little bitty ends. So 4-4,
specifically D'Angelo Malone.
D'Angelo, you gonna try to put 25 pounds on them? I don't think so. So they're playing a 3-4. People shouldn't get all bent out of shape about it because you might be in the nickel on second down. If you stop them, they're in 2nd and 8. The second, you give them up 2 yards, you stop the run, then you're in the nickel. So you're in a 4-2-5, or Smitty and them ran a 3-3-5, 3-3-5. Yeah. So that's all they're saying is we got to play a lot of nickel.
Yeah, that's the translation on that one. Exactly. So D, I'm going to hit you with a funny one as we wrap up. It's a two-parter. So the A is this. So recently you retweeted Scott Pioli, and I think you actually retweeted him even yesterday, and I saw it, and I even quote tweeted it on that because there's some cool stuff you brought up to light. The one from a couple weeks ago said, quote, "Big night at #Shrine Bowl tonight for a few guys repping #HBCUs. Great to get to know these young men this week. We'll see them all in the #NFL." So goes Mark Evans, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Shaq Davis, South Carolina State, Jadakiss Bonds, Hampton, and Dallas Daniels, Jackson State. But D, you quote tweeted and said, "Heard that Bonds of Hampton had a great week of practice from a few different schools. By the way, not the real #HGU, Did you have to throw shade on brother like that, D? Did you have to?
No doubt. No doubt. That's Hampton Institute, Just got to let everybody know there's only one.
So it's HI, not HU.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's really what you're trying to say.
There's Dr. Harvey. He's done a lot of great things down there. My niece went there. But, when I was intern at the Newport Daily News, it was the Hampton Institute. And so we need to go ahead and honor their tradition. I mean, they got a fine tradition. They shouldn't have to try to, climb onto the big boys platform.
Can't latch on, right? Yeah.
Right. It's only
anger
one.
honors.
Still shots fired, still shooting bullets. I love
it. But it's not shade if it's true.
Oh. There you go.
No lies told.
Yeah,
No
there you
lies
go.
told. But on a serious note, D, I also know a lot of good stuff out of Scott Pioli's family and their support of HBCUs. You have
Yes.
also been highlighting some of those great players coming from the HBCU tradition. So, which HBCU players have you seen, whether it's at one of the Senior Bowl games or Celebration Bowl or even combines, who you think might have a legit chance to get drafted in April?
Yeah, I got to talk to more scouts on Isaiah Lamb from Grayson, the 4 a.m.
Yeah.
edge rusher.
Yeah.
He's only 215 pounds.
Yeah.
He light.
Right. He's right.
But he got it done. Then the other kid from Prairie View, A&M, and Southern, he's the little
He's 5'11".
defensive tackle.
Yeah.
5'10", 280, 290. But Aaron Donald was little too. So sometimes the HBCU players are not going to fit on the NFL's measuring chart. And so then, like he did with my man from Detroit, Jarvis, you'll help me out here. The Jackson State DN, they called him the problem or the truth.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Miller?
I know you're talking about.
James something.
James, yeah. Mm-hmm,
so they got him in the 4th, 5th round. So he had more sacks
the linebacker,
than Aiden
Miller,
Hutchinson. The problem or something was his nickname. So I can remember nickname.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
James the Problem Williams. And the Falcons, and all truth, need some people that give other teams problems. So
that would be James Houston? Does that ring a bell?
Houston,
Okay.
Houston, that's his name. Yep. There you go.
Problem.
Yep.
So Isaiah Land, where you pick him, but anybody can get to the quarterback. I don't care how much they weigh. They need to come to Atlanta because
they need to.
We haven't seen the quarterback on his butt enough.
I talked to Isaiah Lyon down in at Senior Bowl, D, and he got a good one on the shows. I think that'll be a nice snag for the Falcons if they're able to get him.
Yeah. And listen, we have a church on every other corner in this city that will lay hands. So maybe they can send somebody up to Flowery Branch to lay hands and teach them how to lay hands too when they see a quarterback at the Benz this coming season. So anyway, D, we appreciate your time. Definitely taking some time out of your super busy schedule because we know that there will be on-field drills today, drills for both D linemen and linebackers. So know you got your work cut out for you, but don't be a stranger. Hopefully we'll get you back closer to draft so we can download on whatever in the world they're going to do outside of the branch. So once again, guys, definitely check out D. Orlando Ledbetter. He is a great read at ajc.com, but I promise you on Twitter, he is an even better follow. So D, which one do you want him to go to? Because I know, you got 2 Twitter handles. Which one?
Oh, no, the AJC is the work one. And, do a little, the work stuff is over there. And then I have a little fun stuff on my other one. But at D. Orlando AJC.
There it is, guys. It's a fun one unless you went to Hampton. Thanks, you big bro. Appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you, Tenitra and Jarvis. You all take care, and thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, D.